Hi everyone, as promised, I'm talking to you again today at, well, a little bit later than 7 o'clock. Sometimes I get carried away with the work that I'm doing. So, what I want to talk to you about today on mental health awareness is all about the difference between a mental health disorder and mental illness. Now, a mental health disorder is generally something which we are diagnosed with quite often in our early teens. It may manifest in our late 20s or early 30s, depending on the triggers that will help it manifest. But it is usually something like bipolar depression, bipolar disorder. You think I'd get the disorder I have right, wouldn't you? Bipolar disorder, manic depression, which is a type of bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, just things along those sort of lines. You know, the type of things that we often talk about as not being curable. But they're manageable, but they're long-term and they're generally inherited. A mental illness is pretty much like some of the physical illnesses that you might get. It's something that there's been a trigger in the short term that might actually lead to it being something that for now and maybe months and years to come may affect your mental health, so that it's not in what you would consider to be good, but through management and dealing with whatever is causing the triggers, you will eventually actually, for want of a better word, cure the illness. I don't like the use of cure in regards to mental health. So that's the key differences between the two. And part of the reason it's really important for us to understand these differences is we often don't realise that people with mental health disorders aren't necessarily in a situation where their disorder is going to affect their ability to work. But if they talk about it or mention it quite often, they may be affected in being able to get the role or even discriminated against on some level. If you look at some of the statistics in the UK, for example, people with a mental health condition, generally 9 out of 10 of them, so 1 in 10 doesn't, 9 out of 10 people have actually had some form of discrimination or, bad comeback based on the fact that they've admitted to having the mental health disorder. However, when we talk about, how they would actually work, if you look at it from a business perspective, they fit into it on a normal everyday scale, just as the person who has potentially one arm or one leg or has broken their leg or any of those sort of things. There are minor details to the allowances they need to make in order to work in the workplace. And yeah, like everybody else, to use me as an example, I have days where I'm sad. Yay. I have days when I am exceptionally happy, but I manage my disorder in such a way that it doesn't impact on my workplace. It doesn't mean that I am any less a person or less able to do things. And with my disorder, I've been able to manage organisations, lead boards, all of those sort of things. So it's not an excuse nor a reason to see someone as being lesser for the job. So I hope that this little chat today has actually helped you understand and see a little bit better the difference between a mental health disorder and a mental illness. The bottom line is, though, in both cases, with good management and the person being well supported, they will be able to work as well as anyone else within the workplace if that's the position they're in. And if they're not, they will be able to manage it and work in the ways that works best with helping them move forward with their mental illness or helping them start to manage and come to terms with the disorder that they have. So thank you very much for joining me today, and I hope you'll join me at about the same time tomorrow, where I'll speak to you about my next little topic, which I'll decide tomorrow morning. So I'm Maggie Georgopoulos, author of Up the Ladder in the Skirt and a mental health consultant and trainer, and I look forward to speaking to you again shortly.